Good afternoon to everybody in the United States and citizens. I want to talk about, we know we got election coming up, but these ads are ridiculous. Three-quarters of them, if you listen to them and everything, it should be called considered election interference because they're not telling the truth. You need to go fact check most of those. I'll show you the example of one. I'm an independent, so I go out and check for facts and stuff because I go on policies, not feelings, or if I don't like somebody. But anyhow, getting to the ads. Number one, the McDonald thing with Kamala Harris. There's no proof either way if she worked at McDonald's or she didn't. Okay, Donald Trump said that was a lie. Okay, so now we'll move on to the ads. I've seen an ad that said that Donald Trump was going to have a national sales tax. That is a complete lie. He is not going to have a national sales tax. And everybody knows and understand that usually the state issues the sales tax, not the federal government. So that's totally wrong. And also, which is pathetic, I don't know if each side are buying people to lie on their ads or not, or they're brainwashed. I can't answer that question, but I can tell you there was an ad that Harris had on that it was a woman about in her 60s with red on, and she came out and she said that she's not voting for Donald Trump because he's cutting Social Security, and that's going to hurt the senior citizen. That's not true either. He never even said that. For one thing, he wants to take Social Security and make sure there's no taxes on there. And for those people that think that that don't research and stuff, Social Security at a certain amount is taxed. Under $25,000, it's not. Anything over $25,000 are like tax brackets. So it is taxed. So some of this crap that people think that they hear from these ads are not correct. Okay, I don't go on for the national media, CNN. I don't go on Newsmax and NBC or CBS because a lot of them have an agenda. The producer will tell them what to say, even if it's a lie or not. Okay, they want their ratings to be higher, and anything that's negative, people seem to like better. Okay, the other thing is we need to really think about when we go in to vote. You want to put the qualified person in there. You got to pick the lesser of the evil. Okay, that's the way you got to look at it. There's no perfection on either side. But what you got to do is look at the policies, okay, and investigate the policies. Lots of times around this time of the year, people don't do enough investigation, and they hear the stuff in the car, and they watch this ads on TV and taking it for granted that's the truth. Well, it's not the truth. That should be considered election interference. I don't see how they can get away with it, for one. You could end up putting the wrong qualified person as president of the United States. And I hope that you don't do that. And I hope everybody has enough sense to go on the websites to check their policies and check what they stand for. And I know that most likely some of that shit ain't going to get resolved when they're president. But you do know what this past 4 years are like and the years of Trump was and Biden was. You have to make a decision. Were you better off before than you were now? And I get tired of hearing about the inflation deal of, Trump is the one that caused it, okay, and it just rolls over to the Biden administration. That's a bunch of garbage, okay, because the bottom line is people don't understand. If you research it, inflation is caused by two things. One, you spend too much money, and you have the Federal Reserve print more money, okay? And that was done during the Biden administration, okay? So let's really think about this. I mean, really research it, okay? So we have a lot of, it's talking about election interference. They're both doing it, but one is doing it more than the other one, okay? So what we all got to understand, we're going to get a history lesson, all of us. We got to look back in history and see where we got our rights. And if we want to keep all of our rights, like I said, I'm independent. Okay, and these people that hate history, you got to learn. You actually got to have history because then you learn from it. Okay, so if you go back to the Revolutionary War, we were under the government of the British. Okay, so George Washington and stuff decided they wanted to develop 13 colonies. Okay, they wanted to break away from the British and their government and all their taxes and stuff. They wanted to have their own government. Okay, so that should mean something. We had a war to get the Declaration of Independence. A lot of people died for that. Okay, to get the breakaway, so we didn't have a dictatorship, more or less. Okay, so after that was done, and we had became the 13 colonies after George Washington won the war. We consider it won the war, okay, because we did separate from the British. Okay, so let's take it a step further. After that, then John Hancock, Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, all those other ones that are pretty smart, thinking, well, we need to think about the Constitution, and we need to write a Constitution for the government, so the government doesn't, because the government should be for the people and not for them, and for them to have power over the people, because the people are the people that vote them in. It kind of the gist of everything. So they wrote the Constitution of freedom of speech and right to bear arms, and so on. Okay, for that reason, when you go in, you need to consider every little thing that the Constitution stands for. Okay, and if one side is taking your rights, starting to take your rights away, what do you want? A government-run system, or do you want to have freedom? If you want to have a government-run system, maybe you ought to go and leave the country and then go to a dictatorship. Okay. So on this matter is basically, don't go in and vote on feeling. Don't go go in and vote in when you go to vote. If you don't like somebody, you go in and vote because if their policies are true, and fact check them. Okay, and I understand not everything's going to be done, because some of that's the Senate and the House. Okay, so, but you got to put the most qualified person in there, and then, with other countries, can that person negotiate with other countries and look strong at doing it and answer their questions? Okay, so that's a lot of things that you need to think about. You need to think when you go in there of all those things I just mentioned. And if you don't understand what I mean by feeling, okay, what I mean by feeling is, okay, and I have nothing against women or anything. I don't want people to take that wrong, okay, because someday there will be a woman president that's qualified. But as of right now, I hear women say, well, I'm going to choose Harris because she'll be the first woman president. That's the wrong way of looking at it. That you're putting someone is not qualified. Okay. Number two, the next one is, I'm not going to vote for that person because I don't like that person. The policies might be good, but I'm not voting for that. Okay. Wrong again. Okay. Then the next one is, the third one is voting down party lines. Okay, there is no matter what, if you have proof in front of them, they're going to vote down on Democrat or Republican party lines. Okay, that's wrong, because the whole theory of this is you want to put the most qualified person as president of the United States. And if that's the case, you're hurting everybody. The best thing for you to do then, if you're going to just do that on those occasions, what I just mentioned, you might just stay home and not vote at all. Okay, so the bottom line here, I'm just being realistic and honest with everybody. This stuff here, what you're seeing on the radio, hearing on the radio, and also on TV, is actually theoretical. I don't know how they're going to get away. Is election interference, because most of it's not true. So it's for the people that are out there that don't follow politics a lot, and they hear, and then they get brainwashed to believe what they hear is the right thing. The thing to do is stay away from all this national news and go on to some of the ones on the podcast or on YouTube to find out what is the truth and what is not. I can give you one example. Megyn Kelly. Now you're thinking, well, Megyn Kelly, who is she? Okay, well, Megyn Kelly, especially for the youngsters, okay, she used to work for not all the national networks, but CNN and NBC, CBS, and then she went to Fox, and then she ended up leaving Fox. So she knows how the networks work because the producers are the ones that want to get the ratings up. So they're going to tell you what to say, what to lie about. The same thing with The View. I mean, you think those people on there on The View are telling you the truth? They're not. That's the producers, because big corporations, I mean, not big corporations, but the owners of CNN or CBS or NBC, okay, it's telling them they need to be in line with the Democratic Party. Okay, you need to say these things. We need to have Harris win, and no matter if we have to tell lies, or on the other side, Trump, the same thing. But what I see is it's more on the Democratic side. The other thing you need to face the fact is this. I'm 62 or 62 going to 63. In my day and time, my dad used to be Democrat. Okay, my dad used to say, Democrat is the best way to go because they're moderate. Okay, they're not liberal and so on. Okay, they're for the working class people. That has shifted completely. Now it's getting progressive. Now it's getting more of a dictatorship. So do you want the government to control everything that you do? Okay, or do you want to believe in the Constitution, that the rights that we have, and follow them? Because you know why? We all need to follow that, because our relations way back, could have been our relations, could have been fell in the war of the Revolutionary War, and there's plenty of other wars that veterans died for. We deserve to give them the respect back, and they gave us our freedom in this country, okay? And the other thing I just want to follow up on everything is this. We're all United States citizens, Americans. It doesn't matter what race you are. And over 90%, maybe 95%, I'm taking a rough guess, but everybody I talked doesn't judge anybody on race at all. We don't look at it that way. We look at character. So if the person's a bad character, of course you're not going to want to be around or talk to them. They could be drug dealers, such, etc. So it's character, not race. So get away from this race crap. It happened over 150 years ago, because everybody in the United States has the opportunity to be whatever they want to be. You have to work hard at it. You can't just think it's going to come to you, okay? If you look around, lawyers, doctors, there's black, white, Asian, all. Okay, that's because they're working hard to get there. Okay, so let's stop fooling ourselves and stop the national networks letting them think that we are all racist, and we're not. So please, when you go into the vote, take everything I have in consideration, because really right now, they're really doctoring up these videos, and it's really considered election interference. So I'm going to leave it at that note, and hopefully everybody does the right thing. It's your God-given right to vote. But just make sure you put the most qualified person in, and don't go, like I said, all the above that I said, and really think of considering putting the qualified person in, okay? You all have a nice day. Love you all. Take care. Bye.